Well, hey there, neighbor.
I always look super tan, and I am not. That's a creepy ass neighbor.
How y'all doing today? Was Mr. Rogers Southern? I don't remember.
Well, I guess like a little bit. What is this stuff?
Was he Southern?
I don't know. I'm
What
trying
was
to
Mr. Rogers?
figure out what the hell's on my shirt.
I don't remember when Mr. Rogers. Hey everyone, welcome to Books and Brew. I am your co-host,
And this
Mike.
is a cat.
This is your other co-host.
Hello, hello.
This is Binks. And this is your other co-host. This is Amber. I don't think I've ever done an intro
Nope.
for Books and Brew. This is the first time ever. Welcome to Books and Brew. If you don't know what this is, it is our chill, just talking Q&A
I
show.
thought you were gonna say a different word.
What, like Netflix and chill?
No. I thought you were gonna say a curse word.
Oh, this is our fucking...
No, I thought you were gonna say this is our
Q-
shit.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show.
Way off.
Anyone who may be watching in the VOD land or live right now, lurking.
I was pinching his fat. He didn't like it.
So we usually in these shows, we sort of take a subject and then we just sort of just talk about it. So today I actually wanted to talk about
From a book.
from the Dungeon Master Guide, as well as my own brain here, about DMing. You know,
Terrifying
being
concept.
the DM or the GM, depending on how you want to say it. I've heard it being used on both ways.
Remember I asked you what the hell a GM was and you were like, oh, game
It's a
master.
game master.
Like, oh, okay.
It's that way you don't have to be a Dungeons and Dragons person. You can play any game as a game master. Also, as per usual with Books and Brew, we usually have some sort of drink. Either it's a brew of a coffee type or of an alcohol type. This time we've got ourselves some coffee.
Yeah, we haven't done coffee since like the first two.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been alcohol.
So we got to spread it out. We have our kombucha still on the ready.
We got a new pack of kombucha thanks to our lovely neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, by the way. So, dungeon mastering. There's a lot to it, but it doesn't have to be that crazy. You're gonna piss him off.
I know. He does this to me all the time.
He's in that uncomfortable position where he's like, I hate all of this. So, dungeon mastering can be kind of crazy. I like to... The best way I think to...
Again, you, like, even when you first started, you weren't bad. Like, I didn't think you were bad. Like, I only hate if you're the note taker, which I'm the note taker. If you're not sure on your shit, if you keep making me rewrite it, and then, like, a month later, you're like, no, I either don't remember or, yeah, that never happened. I'm like, then why the hell did we have to pay attention? It's annoying.
I'm afraid of your note taking. There's going to be a scenario where we're going to go, I want to go back to that shop and find so-and-so, and be like, fuck so-and-so. And I may have not written down and I'll be freaking out.
I had to go over my notes recently.
Yeah.
And then I remember a couple things.
Mm-hmm. I'm dead. Anyways, so what is a DM? Essentially, DM, you are the god of the world. You're building whatever, scenario or land or what have you, NPCs, non-player characters, for the players, just to make sure that they actually have something to do in the world. It is a lot, especially when you're first starting out.
Hey, I'm not even doing anything to you. What's this for?
So what I usually recommend for anyone who's going to be a first-time DM, go ahead and start a one-shot. Don't go straight into a full-length campaign. A one-shot is perfect, something that lasts for about 4 hours, nothing too big and extravagant. I've done a few one-shots, some that last way longer than 4 hours, that are split up into multiple campaigns or sessions. But that's where is a good place to start. And you don't, and much like school, yes, school, like in any school, if you're in grade school, high school, college, knowing your rules is essential. However, this doesn't mean you need to memorize all the rules. This is something I like to tell anyone.
You say this, but like you have a lot of rules that you memorized over time before you were even a DM, so I'm just like, eh.
Well, the reason why I say that you don't have to memorize all the rules is because if someone says, I'm gonna go ahead and grapple this person, and you have no idea what the mechanics are for grappling, you can look it up. You can go on the internet, get a book, and you can look up those details and you can read it out that way.
Yes, child. Jerk.
The minds of the plane driver, or wait.
The fan delver is a good starting point. You can't see.
I'm gonna make that bigger for myself because I am an old man.
Hello. No, I can't see the name, but hello.
There you go. That is strictly old man size. Look at that.
Yeah, that's majorly zoomed in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always recommend, and yeah, you can always buy pre-made modules, and you can follow those rules. Generally, it's something where it lays out, you know, the NPCs, certain scenarios, the encounters, and things like that. When it comes to, for me, I don't like going by modules because I already have like an idea in my head of like, oh, I'll use the last one shot we did. I want to make a campaign where everyone's a chef and they have to collect ingredients from a strange place. And there is no module, or probably, that I'm aware of.
I feel like if you've played before, I don't know, that's maybe just my own bias, but I feel like if you've played enough games, you probably have some idea of what the hell you're doing. I could be totally wrong, because Mike keeps wanting me to DM a one-shot, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I know stuff, but I don't know my stuff as well as you know your stuff.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to get across. So back to my original point, you don't need to memorize every single rule. It's all, I mean, when it comes to beginning DMing, it could just all be about feeling. Someone says, I want to jump this rooftop and go to the other one. You then need to make in your mind, you have to go, okay, well, they're standing on a roof in a dense city. How far would a rooftop be? Well, we've all been in cities, and we've all seen alleyways. You know, how generally big are the alleyways? Are we talking like a big one where like a car can go through? Or are we talking like a small one? Because again, in the D&D world, you can say maybe not a car, maybe a wagon. Maybe they move wagons this way. So you can go, well, it's about 10 to 15 feet. That's a big jump. You know, you'd have to probably roll really high to make it, if any, depending on like maybe the height of the buildings. So it's all about feeling. So then you can tell someone, okay, go ahead and make me an athletics check. And let's say you were thinking, well, it's got to be a hard thing to do. So you're going to make it really high, maybe an 18, check. You roll the die, you hit 17, you go, you think you have a good gap, and then you slam against the wall and you start to tumble down because you weren't able to get a good grasp. It's all about feeling, you know? There is no rules on how to do something specific in the D&D. Like, there's not going to be a step-by-step guide. They give you guidelines, but there's no, you're the DM, you do what you want.
I thought you said there's like a DC check table, like if for basic things.
Yes, I can attempt to look for that, but I don't want to spend my entire stream just looking for that. There is a DC check table in the DM's guide that tells you what an easy check should be, like if it's like 1 to 5, like basically you could do it anyways. Yeah, I'm not gonna look there, but there is a DC check thing in here. No, we don't want
to see.
And again, I recommend going, try to make your own one shot. Use bullet points.
And in here for spell points.
Use bullet points. Essentially, and a good example would be, once again, the one shot that we did recently with Tom from Astral, and of course all of our friends, and I had you guys too. And it was, when I first wrote Dinner, Dryads, and Dice, which is the one shot I'm talking about, the bullet points I wrote were, players are chefs, ex-adventurers. Next bullet point, players get invited to the Feywild, and then like those sort of parentheses, a lot of weird creatures are in the Feywild. Now we have something going here. Players get to the Feywild, they lose their ingredients along the way. So now they need ingredients. Players are invited to go into the wilderness of the Feywild to collect ingredients via plants, animals, maybe fauna, like things like that. Like, you just be creative. Players come back and they cook. And depending on their roles and what they've collected, maybe they can make something good, maybe they can make something passable. And that's all it was. It was like 5 to 6 bullet points. And then you start to fill out everything. when it comes to DMing. You know, you just sort of,
here you go.
or when it comes to story creation.
I don't know if it's a table though. It does say ability checks. It just tells you what the check can be used for. It doesn't have like a DC though.
There's something I've seen that has like a DC counter. Yeah, typical DCs.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Page 238.
238. Yeah, they do have that. I knew they had a chart somewhere.
Well, I just went until the index.
I was like... 1 to 5 is very easy. 6 to 10 is easy. 11 to 15 is moderate. 16 to 20 is hard. 21 to 25 is very hard. And 30 and beyond is impossible. Or nearly impossible.
I've gotten a 30, I think, once.
So it's a good chart to have, you know, in hand, because when you start to think of it, you go, all right, well, what they're trying to do doesn't seem that hard. You have to work it out in your head very quickly. You go, okay, they want to shoot a rope, you know, that is holding a bunch of rocks. You know, okay, well, they have a bow and arrow. What should I make the DC? Well, they're kind of far, and the person who's shooting it isn't an expert. They're just someone who, you know, they're like a level 2 person. Can they do it?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, does it depend on the character too? Because like, what if you're a freaking monk? Like, what if you just do that all day?
I mean, that's up to the DM. Like, if like there's a good example is that one of the characters I play in one of our unstreamed campaigns, I play a guy who all he uses is a crossbow. He's got a medal on his crossbow because he's a very good shot. You know, he's the crossbow expert feat. That's his entire thing, is that he is a good shot. And it's one of those things where if I was the DM in that position and I go, I want to shoot that rope. Well, the DM would go, well, for anyone else from this far away and how thin the rope is, that'd be very hard at 25. But you're pretty experienced at this, and you could, as a DM, you could start being a little more lenient. You go, okay. All right, well, go ahead and roll. And in my mind, I have, well, 21 is kind of a hard thing to do, but it's doable for him. And I roll and see if I get it. You know, do an attack and see if I hit that DC. But if you were to do that, I know your character is in that, with a crossbow or an arrow, then it's going to be like...
I think she has a crossbow, but
then it would be very hard, because it'd be like, okay... Well, you generally do mostly spells. You're not really a martial character.
Yeah, but I mean, she uses her mace a lot when she doesn't want to do spells, like her mace or her sword. But like even then, she's not like she doesn't really use her crossbow.
And you barely use that too. Oh, I'm talking about Kara.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's used her crossbow a lot more than Vera. When I first started, and
when you first started, but now all you do is just transform into an earth elemental. Yeah. By the way, spoiler, she's a moon druid.
Yeah.
In one of our other campaigns.
I've done a couple of a couple of forms, earth elemental forms, and I like the one that's a fire elemental because you can set shit on fire just by standing there. But
yeah, I mean, when it comes to setting DCs, it's all up to you. You know, you don't have to be strict by the book, and you don't have to have everything in mind. There's been plenty of times where you guys stray off story or do your own path or try to do something that it was totally unexpected. By the way, if you're a DM, expect your players to do something...
Expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Basically, do not be so tight-knit to your story and to the path you've woven for them. Expect them to just toss that playbook out the window. I expect it every single time I do a campaign, every time I do a session, because I go, all right, I'm hoping they follow this train, but they may do something different.
You normally tell me, though, that you write for a few different routes. I mean, obviously you can't include all of reality in there, but I mean, like a couple ones that you think might happen.
Yeah. I mean, what I usually do, I mean, we're getting into campaign writing for DMs.
I know, but still.
And if we're going to talk about that, the idea I do is that I usually go, okay, well, this is a golden rule. This is a real golden rule. What's going on, Bryce? How's it going, man? Here's a good golden rule for writing a story in D&D. Don't write a story that you want your players to play in. write a story that write a story around your players. Don't have storyline A and your players are just they had nothing to do with it, and you want to push them into this train. No. Get your players, get their backstory, get their motivations, and then.
Oh, thank you.
Bryce, are you kidding me with your Prime? Thank you so much, man. That's weird. The alert didn't go off. Here, I'm gonna try something here.
I seen it over there, but I didn't see it.
There it is.
There we go.
I'm still learning my Stream Deck and how you pause things.
Did you pause it? I think you paused it when we got raided.
I did.
Because it was just like...
So, a good example, and at this point, I'm really happy because we're so far in the campaign. Far enough in the campaign.
It's like, we're not super far.
You guys are level 5. You guys
Yeah,
are not that far.
Oh, thank you. Another subscription.
I don't
want to butcher your name.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna try not to butcher the name. Herm?
Hermidor?
Hermidor. Hermoid.
Can I just call you Herm? Because I'm special. I like the phonetic spelling.
Hermioid. Now we're always gonna remember that.
I'm just gonna call you Herm.
This is the thing with us. I am horrible with usernames. I'm really sorry. So.
I have all the.
Oh yeah, you can do nat 20. You can do the yes, and you can do the no. It's great. So a few things about writing a story for, and this is what I was trying to get at, is that we're far enough into the campaign where I can now finally talk about a Vera storyline that we've been running.
Why am I thinking Astral?
Oh my god! Dude! How's the kid?
How's the nugget?
Your level, what did you call him? A level 1 human?
Yeah.
A level 0 human or something.
Was it 1 or 0?
I think it was a level 0, because I think level 1 you get him at yeah, he's
level
at level
0 right now.
You become level 1 when you hit 1 years old.
A baby. That's what I call babies.
He's a human. He hasn't chosen his class yet because he has to hit level 1. So we'll see what kind of human he turns out to be. Who knows? Maybe he's gonna be a rogue. He's
sleep poop exhausted. He's a little machine.
What's going on, Red? Man, I'm so sad that we weren't able to get you in the story, but I'm really happy for you. I honestly think that's way better than what I could ever do. Whatever story I can make for you.
I can give you a one shot, but I can't give you an infant. So.
Yeah.
It's past my capabilities.
Right, so writing a story around your characters. So Vera, obviously, when you started to create her, the first thing
I don't know if you want me to use Vera. Vera is like one of my more complicated characters.
Well, I'll say this much. For all of my characters, for Vera, Savannah, and Rolly, when it was time for character creation, I told them, okay, start to get the basic of your character. Get down the essentially, how do you want your character to act? Basically, how do you want them to fight? Basically, and then I created a world. I created basically a shell of a world. I made little towns and cities, and I said, okay, I'm gonna limit them to this space in this town and city so they can choose their hometown, and I'll make little characteristics for each town, and I'll make it flexible so if they want to be from somewhere far away, I can go, great, okay, what is about your town that makes you blah blah blah? I had to edit some of the town's characteristics based on the characters. So again, like shaping your world around your characters. And then I go, okay, great. Now you've had some time to think about your characters. What is your motivation? I need a short-term goal and a long-term goal.
I like the wording you choose though, because you're like, if everything's great, you're not gonna go out freaking adventuring. So you're probably, because I always say that like D&D, you have like these most tragic backstories.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, everybody's emo in the world. like that, like I guess when you put it that way, you're just like, oh, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like if everything is peachy keen at home, you're probably gonna stay there unless like, you know, you go out of the town every so often. But
if you're a merchant who's like, I own a textile, you know, shop, and you are making money and bank, and you're like, why would I ever leave to get killed? You're not gonna go adventuring unless something happens.
Pay people to go do that.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you're gonna go ahead and get me stuff. But yeah, for Vera, which is a good example, you have 2 goals. And I think we could talk about it because you've actually talked about it on stream.
Well, I mean,
the short-term goal was that you wanted to alter or enhance or enchant your fiance's armor.
well, first basic remedial goal was to make it fit.
Yeah, it was to make it fit.
Because Vera's like this, and her fiance was built like a guard. So she's just like, I got all this extra stuff.
So think about that. Her character, her short-term goal was, I'm wearing this armor that was made for my now past fiance. I want to wear it as much as I can, but it doesn't fit. So, short-term goal, go to a blacksmith, get it fitted. It's a great.
The anti-rug mob burned down my shop and I'm out for revenge.
That would be great if it was like a competing merchant who burned down your shop, and now it's like,
and now this is war, bitch.
you're like, fuck that guy. And you're like, you know, I'm gonna get some adventures. We're gonna fuck that guy up, and that could be a really good, like, maybe you're like a true neutral character who's like, I'm gonna get back at him, and then who knows where that ends you leads
I
you.
just say that because I mean, Mike knows this. Most of my characters, unless it's been a stipulation, are like tragic. There's only been one that I made that obviously it wasn't streamed. It was our at-home campaign test run. That like she had a purpose. This is her new shirt. I think you kind of need to.
I will walk forward a little
further
bit.
towards the camera because of the white. That's Gina Lee,
Look at the Gina Lee shirt.
NPC character.
Oh my god, I can't.
Air Genasi.
She's a
Mike
little
just looks like he's trying to flash.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. We got ourselves our Air Genasi Gina Lee shirt. She's such an airhead, and I love her so much.
My cousin did the art for it.
Yes.
So.
Wonderful art made by Kristen.
Yeah.
So
If you want to, I mean, she doesn't really do her art on her Instagram, but her Instagram handle is cheesecake_haiku. There's a lot of weird reasons behind that name, but you know, it is what it is.
So the short-term goal that I asked Amber to make to have Vera, to have, which was to get her armor fitted, which is great because when you first start out in the campaign, the first thing on your mind when you're role playing as a character, you're talking to these other characters who have their own goals, and you go into a new town. The first thing you do as a character go, is there a blacksmith?
I think the 2 goals were the armor thing, and then like going through grief. So it was like, get out of the wherever you're at, like let's go.
Well, that was that was your spark to get out.
Yeah.
So Vera has 2 goals. Essentially, I think you have more, but I think
those were the 2 main ones. Like I got to get out from the hovel.
One, I want to
get this fitted.
One, I got to get it fitted, and 2, I need to visit my fiance's grave. So
she didn't do that.
So those are the 2 goals, which is I love them because 1, you can go, well, the short-term goal is going to get me out of whatever state I'm in, and I'm going to start exploring. Maybe there's a good blacksmith around here that can do the job. And the long-term goal that takes me a lot longer to do, I'm going to visit the grave, and I'll have to talk to people, ask around, and get things done. Savannah.
I like that we workshopped it though a little bit, not to cut you off, because like Mike had us work when you could actually talk to people face to face.
Yeah.
Like not give everything away. So like obviously there are surprises and there's some stuff that none of us know about each other. But like we kind of workshopped it together where it would make sense. Like, oh, you're from there and this is how like this would connect with this a little bit. So I think it kind of made it easier for you. And then you didn't have to be like, players, where is your story? Let me poke you. So like we just had basics, very bare bone basics, but it kind of made it easier for everybody else. So they weren't like, what the hell do I do?
So like Savannah's short-term goal was that she was on the run. We summarized it to, don't get re-caught by the law.
You're gonna summon Temple if you say Savannah.
I know. but that was her and she talked about this on stream during the game, is that she did some nefarious deeds or some actions towards the Colosseum.
She did some no-nos.
And essentially the guards in Cleveland City were after her. So short-term goal, not get caught. So she's probably gonna still do a little bit of roguish action, but she's gonna do everything she can to avoid a cop. More than likely, she would see a guard and she'd immediately put over. So it's a great role-playing moment, because then you can go, where are we? Oh, we're in a town. Are there guards nearby? Yeah, absolutely. I immediately put my hood down and I just start to look, and it's a great role-playing action. Her long-term goal, which she has already discussed now, is that in her past, she was kidnapped and she was brought to Cleveland City via a gnome who essentially had her drink some sort of potion. And her long-term goal is, I need to find that guy, because it's one of the things I have to get. I can't have this going on. I need to find out why. I need to find out, where is this guy and why is he doing this, and I need to stop him.
I like how in game when she brought it up and my character was like, and you just took a potion or a drink from a stranger that you didn't know, and you're outside and you just drank it willingly, and she's like, yeah, hindsight.
I did when we were discussing it. I did say, I'm gonna give you a moment in your life where you're kind of a smart person. I think she is the smartest.
Yeah, intelligent she is.
And I go,
why is she not?
Well, no, I told her, I'm gonna give you a moment of lapse of judgment. You're going to, in your life, go, you know what? Everything's been going pretty well here. I trust everyone in this town. Sure, yeah. Let me go and take a drink. I'm in part of this group here. She's part of a thieves guild. They've been treating her nice and teaching her things, and it's a lapse of judgment. And that one mistake, sets her off.
Hey, buddy. Sorry, I keep looking over there because our cat keeps jumping from game chair to game chair.
Rolly has himself a short-term goal, and that is to. Actually, I don't think Rolly has.
His goal is to find out more about the Evan Scourge.
No.
Like
That's a long-term goal.
Oh.
That is the long-term goal.
Yeah, what was the short-term goal?
His short-term goal was to get armor.
Oh, yeah.
Is that he
doesn't use.
He doesn't need it anymore. Which I think was awesome, that he was like, I need to find armor because I'm not the strongest person here, or at least I'm like bare-chested and I can get cut very easily. I've seen people fight. He's a gladiator, so he's seen the blood and damage. And then he becomes a little more confident in his fighting skills, and he goes, you know what? Maybe I don't need this. Sometimes a short-term goal doesn't have to come to fruition. And that's fine. But he did have something he was looking for, and it's a great way to start role-playing. He goes, I gotta get armor. Armor.
It came through. We were just like, do you wear that, Rolly? And he was like, I don't need to wear it anymore. And we're all like, so...
It happens. It absolutely happens.
My character's upset. I'm sure Temple's character's upset because that's all she got shit talked about.
So yeah, I recommend, if you're gonna start DMing a campaign, tell your characters, make a short-term goal, make a long-term goal. And if they can make multiple goals, that's even better.
Yeah, I think because it helps you with an outline.
Because then you can go, oh my God, they've got 5 goals that they want to do. I can make 5 5 plots out of these things. I want to find my husband's grave. All right, go do this task for me. They do the task. And nope. And they zip out.
All I gotta say is you did that way more with that than I ever thought you were gonna do. Which shouldn't surprise me given how you ran the first campaign, but I was just like, oh man.
It was great.
My character was not set to be like this angry, pissed off person about everything that's happened to her, but that is what has happened this far.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It came out so well. But I to circle back, really, I seriously do, if you're gonna start DMing, do a one-shot. One-shots are super simple to build. essentially, and this is how I do it, make a premise, make it so that it's in 1 or 2 areas. That's it. Nothing too big, it's all happening in a hotel, or it's happening in a forest, like a Dinner, Dryads and Dice, or behind a castle. It's just happening in one forest.
Or the underworld.
Or the underworld. But don't make like an underworld that has like rivers and different caverns and things like that. Sure, it may have that, but don't make it go too deep.
I think you can just give like a basic description, but like, if they start probing for more, then you'd be like, hey, it's only got 2 rooms, you guys.
And the thing is,
room in that room.
You can totally do that. Because, a good example that I like to think of is that, like, let's say you were DMing a game and someone goes, or you're telling them, you're trapped in a cell. And they go, okay, I try to look for a way out. All right, you look for, even if it's so vague, you can have them roll. And depending on how well they roll, you can go, okay, well, you rolled pretty well. You look around. There is a lock on your cell, but it's obviously you try it and it's locked. So there is potentially a way, but you just don't see anything around you. Especially in this dark cavern, this dark cell. If a player goes, I want to look for a lever, or I want to look for a secret door, you've built the world. And you have to think strategically. Do you think there would be a secret lever inside of a cell? You can have them roll, but whatever they roll, regardless if it's a 20, you can go, you search around, you got a natural 20, you are so confident that there is not a lever inside your cell.
I mean, you could just be a hardhead with your player and, Shawshank Redemption. I get the spoon and start digging out of the wall.
I mean, that would be funny. That would change the game. Now it turns into, can you be secret enough to do that?
You want to be that ass to the DM? You totally can.
And I think there's another hint here, a little tip for you guys if you ever want to DM. Putting people back on track.
You're good at doing that. I think I would struggle with it.
Yeah, and it's a difficult thing because you obviously want the players to play the story that you built for their characters. But if they go, fuck it, I don't want to do that right now, and they try to do something else, then it can get a little hectic because then you can go, all right, well, I'm expecting them to, we'll use the example with Grim Thor's Manor.
Oh, yeah.
I go, okay, well, I'm kind of assuming that they're going to help Moscow and they're going to go check out Grim Thor's Manor. And if you guys just said, you know what, we're not doing that. We're going to hold Moscow at sore point and tell them to help me regardless or not. And I go, oh, in my head, I'm like, well, that's going to change things,
He, Moscow remembers this.
So then it's going to be like, then you think about the characters.
Game mechanics.
And you can definitely take a breather and go, all right. Okay, well, you can either do one of 2 ways. Either you take what they've given you, your players, and you run with it. So if you were to go, I get my maul, and I put it right next to his chin, and I go, if you don't give me the damn,
Wrong character. I know you always think she has a maul.
Or
Mace.
Mace. I get the mace, and I get close. If you don't give me if you don't diagnose my friend here, your head's coming off. It could be one of 2 ways. Either Moscow is afraid.
Or the hill giant tries to eat me.
Well, let's say you did this somewhere else. Either he's afraid and he gives in. Players found a creative way to get what they need. B, he doesn't give it to you because he knows, and you as a DM, you can know this, the best bet they have, in that scenario, obviously there can be more doctors, but he's qualified, and if they break his neck, all right, I guess they're not getting the cure for a while.
I think it also depends on your players, though. I know we're talking about DMing, but I told you about this, and it's not that we try to rush through it. Me, Steve, and Temple, this is just my opinion. They can, confirm it or deny it, but I think we're the type of players that, if you give us 10 things to do, we want to do all 10 things. So we're just okay, nope, we're going to do them all. Unless, one is, really stupid, go give that guy, a pot of sugar or something. knowing us though, we'd probably still want to do it because we'd be like, you don't know that guy's name. Give us money or whatever. But like, we're just that type of group. I think it just
not wrong.
Yeah, see, I told you, we said her name enough times, she would come, like Beetlejuice, in a good way.
Well, the other idea that I have that could be a little more creative. So once again, we're gonna reuse that scenario where you get your mace, bring it up to Moscow's chin, and you say, "You give me the cure for my friend, or you're gonna die." A good way to do this as a DM to get your players back on track is you can make your NPC or whatever scenario, you can go, okay, I will do so, but we still need to get to his house. He specializes in transporting drugs. And I need, well, as the DM, I can say it's true. It's a way to get your players back in line. You can go, well, I want to help you, but it's another reason why I need to get in there because he's been hoarding a lot of medicine.
But the secret ingredient is in the creepy guy's castle.
Exactly. You can go, well, I need it if I'm ever going to help you. So you kill me now, and you don't help me get in there, we may never be able to, heal your friend. And it's a great way to get your players back on track. And now they have a different dynamic. Now they're going, all right, but if you make one false move, I'm killing you. And now you start to think, well, is your NPC going to do something?
We try not to kill people, but every time we say we're not going to kill anybody is like when we have the biggest body fucking count. Yeah. So we're all in agreement that we're not going to kill anybody, and then we go in there and like 5 guys end up dead. So I'm just like, all right, well, I guess an effort was made, or at least talked about.
I think another thing I like to talk about when it comes to rolls and checks and like different scenarios you guys paint is what I like to call just instant successes, and we're just going for flair. So essentially, like if Rolly is parting with the tiefling girls, how well does he charm them? Well, in the story, the tieflings were already kind of charmed by him. They invited him to dance, so it's not going to be that hard of a check, obviously. But I'm going to have him roll, not because I want to see him fail, or if there's an option, he can still fail. He can roll a natural 1. But now I want to see how well his story plays. Maybe he rolls kind of low to like maybe sweet talk 1, and they're like, "Oh, and they just that's as far as the the conversation goes. That's as far as the relationship goes. And someone goes, "You're silly,"
You're silly. You ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, like we're having. They're not gonna say that to him. They're gonna be like, "We're having fun, but you're silly." I don't want to get into that. And that's as far as he goes. It's not a failure. He's not being punished for anything. He's just not moving forward. The instant success, however, is like if he rolls okay to very good. Well, now maybe you can build something on that. You can go, maybe one of the friends of a bachelorette is like, well, maybe, like maybe you can open up some options. Yeah, you get friend zoned.
So hard.
You're not getting outright denied.
Another one I said, if we say his name enough times, he'll just appear.
But that's what I was thinking of. I was like, we've built a scenario where Rolly is gonna win regardless. Because the scenario was, he's dancing with these women. They already like him. They are already having fun with him. He's not gonna fail. They're not gonna kick him in the balls and go, "No, ew, leave me alone, creep." Because
dude, that's like if you rolled like a 1 and you had a negative.
So I did think about
your stats. You were just like, damn.
So I did expect. I was thinking about what if Rolly rolled a nat 1 in the scenario. What would that do? Well, you can get creative. Maybe the ladies are still charmed by him. They're not gonna switch on a dime, but maybe he's about to talk and a little bit of vomit comes out.
Ew. My face.
Then immediately they're like, "Oh, honey, sit down. Like maybe you're done," and then they'll party without him. That is the only failure option.
I'll party with you.
Yeah. Are you having fun? Like he's dancing on the stage. Like, are you having fun? Yeah, just a little bit, and then they're like, "Ooh, maybe you need to sit down. Can we get some water?" And they're gonna take care of him, but they're gonna keep him there at the table, and they're gonna party without him. So there's a lot of creativity. It's about life. What are you gonna do in a social encounter if something bad happens? What's the worst thing that can happen to you? Your pants fall down. I don't know.
It's D&D. I'm sure so many more things can happen. Like,
Yeah, so many things can happen. A good example too is that
roll a dice and be like, you done fucked it up.
the last session we had is that you sneak up, find Mirar, the trained hill giant, and have him scare Rolly. Well, there definitely was an option for that.
I mean, he didn't hurt me. It's just, I got fucking King Kong and got stuck in the. Yeah, let me out.
I forgot what I had you roll, but I was like, okay, you're gonna try to look for him. Roll me a perception check, and you rolled bad. I remember that.
I don't think it was perception. I think I was trying to be stealthy, or like if he noticed me, but like actually,
I made you make a dex save.
Like if he was actually awake or not.
I remember I made you make a dex save because I was like, well, I already established via story that this hill giant
It's not a morning person.
Generally performs at night, so he would probably be asleep till like midday. Okay, so he's asleep. You guys are coming in the morning. He's sleeping like a baby because I made him much like a child. And I go, okay, well, no one approaches Mirar in the morning. He's a grabby type, and I've already established that. So here
Not
comes.
like grabby as in like, oh, I love you. Grabby as in I literally want to pick you up and look at you.
It's like a big kid with a toy. He just wants to pick you up and look at you. So here comes Vera, walking all fucking like, I'm gonna scare my friend.
Hey, it was a dual agreement.
And so
I'm the idiot to want to.
so I want to scare my friend with this big giant hill giant that my friend doesn't know about. So immediately you go, Mirar, wake up. And I'm like, oh, she's right next to him? That's a bad move. All right, well, maybe she can avoid maybe getting grappled. Make me a dex save. She rolls bad. And now you're sleeping with a giant hill giant.
I am not your teddy bear. Put me down, sir.
It's all about scenarios and what makes sense. And the reason why I chose a dex save, generally you choose saves when something bad is about to happen to you. Oh.
Or something stupid. I mean, it can go either way. Just to...
Like saves are generally to prevent any harmful, action upon yourself. So this is going to be a little harmful. She's going to be grappled, and if no one came to her rescue,
it's going to be hurtful to my ego. I don't know about physically hurtful.
Yeah, no scared for you. If you would have dodged it, he would have missed and then just kind of went back, and you would have another shot. And maybe you were going to be able to wake him up. Who knows?
Should have rolled a cookie over there or something.
A cookie?
Yeah, a meat pie.
A small cookie for a big giant? Yeah.
Like that Family Guy episode. It's like, piece of candy. Like there goes Vera.
James Woods.
Little crumbs trying to get this stupid giant to wake up.
But yeah, it's all about associating a certain skill for a scenario. I want to jump a fence. All right, well, in real life, jumping a fence, that's a very dexterous thing to do, or you have to have some strong legs to bounce over that thing. So,
or you could just go through it.
You can make it, well, if they say I want to jump a fence, they can go, okay, well, either make an athletics check or an acrobatics check. You give them an option to either they do a backflip over the thing, or they use it like a parkour, leverage. Or maybe they go like almost like an Olympic jumper, and they get some distance and they go over things. So it's all about using creativity and common sense. I want to look at this item, and is it magical? Well, generally when it comes to magic items, it's kind of hard to tell unless you attune to it or use it and you know how to use it. Do you have any spells for that?
Well,
I do not.
You stick your ear in a box.
Okay, well, I don't have any spells for that. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check. Now they roll an Arcana check and they roll pretty well, and you go, well, you look at the item and you're giving it a good look, and you do see that there are some arcane symbols or there are some glyphs. Generally, when there's a magic item, there's some sort of telltale signs that something's been enchanted. So you look it over and you go, okay, you roll pretty well in Arcana. Yeah, it's magical. You don't know how it's magical, but you just know that there's something about it. That's what detect magic is for.
I know, but I'm like, I hate wasting a spell slot. I mean, I can do it ritually, which is good. It takes 10 fucking
Well, I'm saying for DMs.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're going to be DMing a game, like someone goes, well, there's a character, maybe like, there's a character.
You see nothing.
Do I know anything about that character? Is he well known? And as a DM, you're going, well, this is a famous character. Roll me a history check. And you can roll a history check and go, oh, yeah, you've heard about this guy. You definitely heard about him. And then you can sort of describe him. Or they roll low and you go, you know what? You're not from this area. Maybe the stories haven't got to you. You don't know who this guy is.
I think Mike's like trying to give me tricks and tips because he really wants me to do a one shot so he can be a player and not a DM.
I want everyone in my team build a one shot for me. I want to play. I'm gonna cry because I'm gonna be a forever DM. I want to play a game. I feel
like for Steve this probably isn't an issue. For me, Temple, we're just like.
If you run a D&D stream, invite me. As a player, I will play a good game.
No homework, boo.
Without spoiling anything, all of my hosts here know how, the basic guidelines I made for the newest one shot that I'm making, that is coming out next month.
Oh yeah, because none of us are playing it, so we can know all the dirt.
Now I can share my secrets with everyone because no one's in it. Of my main crew, we have a bunch of awesome people. We have Vecna's Laboratory, we have Dungeon Journals, we have Titan Fish Killer, and then we have Cozy Gamer Dice.
Yep.
Really awesome artists and creators in their own rights. We have a ice maker, we have an artist, we have a leather smith maker, and someone who makes journals and books. And then of course we have someone, I believe she makes pins and minis. And
she also makes
dice boxes,
resin casts of different things. Just depends. And I don't know if she does commissions, but I know she makes like different trays for dice. And
she has an Etsy store.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of our artists here that we have invited are amazing people, and so I can't wait to play with them, see their characters. I've seen one character, it looks really cool.
Oh yeah, I've seen it too. I was like, oh, I want it.
I know a little about their characters, this character's history, and I'm so excited.
We won't leak it.
We won't leak it.
Leak
it. We won't leak it. But it's fun. But yeah, anyone wants to start a one shot, make 7 bullet points, then expand.
I'm gonna do the Underworld one.
Thank you.
But I said in October.
I want to play a game.
To be announced.
You play. You make you DM. You at least once.
I know I'm gonna call you Herm, but can I just say Red Mega?
You're invited.
We'll make the new baby do a one shot.
You're invited, Mega. But yeah.
If he likes what you have, you pass the DC. If he doesn't like, you get a bottle thrown at your head.
I think the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to DMing is building encounters.
Yeah, I think that's a hard thing for me because I feel like you actually try and balance with our levels. I think I'd be meaner.
So I've learned that encounters are the most difficult thing to build. I can build a city because I've been to different cities in my life. I can say that you guys go to a coastal town that looks exactly like, or kind of like, Long Beach. It's got itself a shore play, like a shoreline, market where it has a bunch of different shops and restaurants. It also has a coastal area. It has like a park space where I just go off by what I remember and things I've seen.
Yeah.
Towns are easy. People are easy because you usually want to give your people just regular NPCs, wants and desires and fears. Big fear. They don't want to die. So they're not going to do anything that risks their life for you.
I think the only thing that I feel bad about is I don't do accents. I may try to do an accent.
That's fine.
Mike and Steve can actually do accents.
We both know from playing with our buddy Nick that he's not full on accents.
Yeah, but he changes his voice.
Yeah, either he gives it a little more proper tone, or maybe he's a little more kind of risk it, or he gets a little deeper or something. It just depends.
The first time I ever seen Nick do a girl voice, that was interesting. I wasn't ready for that.
But towns are easy. General NPCs are really easy because they have one fear: they don't want to die, and they don't want to get robbed. Kind of every person has that fear. Generally, most people just want to go along with their day and they don't want to be bothered. So if someone comes up to them and says, "Greetings, friend. Where's the nearest dragon?" They'll be like,
What hit you in the head? What are you doing?
Because immediately all of them are gonna be like, "You're looking for a dragon? I haven't heard of that because A, I don't want to get killed, so I haven't been looking for one."
Oh, that's just what your town is known for.
Yeah,
the terror.
If there is a dragon nearby, like you built the town and there's a dragon nearby, then mostly all the people know about it and they're like, "Oh, that? Yeah, it comes by like once every 5 years and terrorizes us. We can't leave. Hard." Or maybe they're stubborn. We've seen people who are stubborn, that they live in places where a lot of natural disasters happen. They're like, "I don't want to leave. This is where my family and my mother and my father have lived, and so have their grandfather. This is my town. I'm not leaving. Who cares if there's a dragon?" People are like that. So you can make people so people are easy. What's really hard is encounters. You have to think about it. You go, well, best way to think about it is that, well, all of our players are level 5. There's 3 of them, so they can put some hurt. So I always recommend my players going to Cobalt Fight Club, and you can put in what your players level are and how many they are, and then it'll tell you what is easy, what is difficult, and what is hard for them. And that way you can start adding it, and it'll tell you what the encounter is. Like, oh, it's very difficult, or it's easy.
Well, you also say you can modify monsters and stuff, so.
Yes, you can always modify monsters. A good example, because you guys will never run into it again, was I made I think it was called a fire beetle. Yeah, a fire beetle, which is an actual monster in the game. It is a challenge rating 1/8. It is a very weak monster that has like 5 HP. And you guys dodged it because when you were in the desert, there was a sea of desert glass.
Oh.
And you guys dodged it. You went around it, which is fine. But I did build an encounter that if they were going to walk over the desert glass, that some fire beetles were going to come out and start attacking them.
Instead, we got scorpions.
But I reworked them because I was like, having 100 desert beetles would even the playing field. But you don't want to have 100 characters. You're a DM. You don't want to track 100 initiative and then 100 HP and then no, that gets a little too much. So essentially,
excuse me, unless you're a masochist.
So essentially, I made 3 fire beetles that were upgraded. They had way more health, they hit way harder, and they had way more AC. But there was only 3 of them, so it's not that bad. That's not that many to count. Count. There's 3 of them, or 4 of them, because you had Danny at the time. There's 4 of them and 3 fire beetles. It's an even fight. In addition to that, because the way that D&D works is that the team with the most actions usually win. You have 4 people versus 3. Generally, the 4 is gonna win. So what I did is I also made the environment an enemy. This is where you can get really fun with encounters.
Sand is dangerous.
The way I made it was that the fire beetles could dive and dig through the glass, and wherever they were digging to, they left a trail of molten glass and sand. So now that path became treacherous.
I think Savannah has some of that glass in her bag.
Mm-hmm.
From what I remember.
I have to remember how much that is. I think it was like 80. I think you took like 80 gold worth or something. I'll double check. I wrote it down. I did write that down.
The note taker outnotes you.
Yeah. I think because I am doing a stream, I do forget to take notes when I try to make things up on the fly. So I am a little behind on that. It is a very difficult thing, but if you're not streaming, you have a little more autonomy to do that, which is nice. Encounters are hard. Encounters are very hard. And essentially, players get very bored if you keep putting them into a box with enemies. Sure, the variety of enemies is going to be fun. Now I get to fight a troll. Now I get to fight a beholder. This is really cool. But the environment needs to be interesting as well. You know, you guys fought animals and thugs near a town that was split into a desert and grass, and had multiple places to hide. There was a cart you can duck behind. I remember Savannah jumped on the cart and started fighting a guy. You know, the environment can be fun. You know, there's a desert glass plane that you guys can walk through and fight and dodge like pathways. You know, make the environment a character as well. That's the hardest thing. That's the absolute hardest thing, is making the environment fun.
No. Well, I mean, you always make me cry almost every other stream, so I think we got into more roleplay. I don't even try. I try not to.
And use like games and stories and books and TV shows as inspiration. The last campaign we had, or last session we had, you guys had a stealth mission. I haven't pulled off a stealth mission. I don't think I did it so well. I'm very judgmental of myself. I think I can improve it. Maybe I'll do something further down the line.
You didn't, I mean, I think we weren't that stealthy. We like to have thought we were. But yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I want them to sneak into this estate, look around,
Between
dodge traps.
birds, carpets, and yeeting guys out the window, we weren't that stealthy.
You guys weren't. However, you guys were lucky, or at least you don't know. Maybe he wasn't there, maybe he wasn't. You guys were on the second floor. I did, though, write down the change of guards. And I just wrote a simple note that said, every 2 hours, a random guard is changed.
He was changed, all right.
So then I start to think, all right,
Right at the balcony.
I've given each guard a number. And if you guys spent more than, like, basically 2 hours, I would roll a number and a separate guard would come by and exchange. And if that guard were to pass by one of the spaces that you guys attacked, where another guard is missing, everyone's gonna be on high alert.
Oh, I guarantee they're already on high alert.
But you guys get everything in less than 2 hours, which was great. So that could have been bad. It could have been, let me go ahead and exchange, let me change off, Gary. Go to Gary.
Maybe, yeah, when they started looking for Bob and Jim or whoever the fuck.
Oh my God! Thomas is on the floor!
One of them's alive, one of them not so much.
He's in the rocks!
Who the fuck is Batman?
Who's the Dark Knight? Kill him!
Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I think we kind of all already gauged that shit once we left. But
yeah.
like, truth be told, and I didn't tell Steve this, I don't know if he's still watching, but like I told Mike, I go, very, very much wanted to go along with Rolly's plan and burn it the fuck down, because like the concept of what was going on there was like pissing her off to no end. It was like, you do what to people? But like at the same time, it was just like, they're like, I don't know if they have it out for their circus, if they have it out for like the townspeople. Like she was thinking like what's connected to it. So it's just like I don't want to burn it down and it make it so much worse for everybody that lives here. So I'm just like.
Oh, and by the way, DMs, future DMs, if you make a bad person, like you have to make it antagonist.
I know where you're going with this.
What was I gonna go?
If you make a character so fucked up that it makes your players talk for an extra 40 minutes about them after the stream, you know you did a good job.
No. Hey, you called Moscow evil?
I said fucked up. You could take that any way you want.
Yes. No. What I was going to say is, by the way, future DMs, if you make an evil guy, a henchman, or something like that, well, we did talk about Lily for a good amount of time. If you make any evil person, be prepared that there is an option that your players may end up taking said evil person, not killing them, and interrogating them. So that is a thing that actually did happen a few sessions ago, where the bad guy left the room, left a thug there, and you have to think, well, shit. This guy was just supposed to be cannon fodder. Now what is he? Now I have to think about a character for this guy. What is he? And so that's why I was happy that we ended the session and gave me a week to think about it. And I go, well, he probably just wanted money. And he's fine with doing some shady shit. So when you guys captured him, he was like, I'm sorry. I value my life more.
Oh, you're talking about when we went to the mayor's?
Yes. It was one of the few times you did capture someone and interrogated them instead of just outright killing them.
Yeah, that whole session was, I grapple, I kill. I grapple, I kill. That's what we were doing.
I mean, do you consider Moscow fucked up?
Yeah. I think initial first reaction, Vera thinks he's fucked up. But, like, Rolly definitely thinks he's fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
The only one where, like, unanimously, like, agreeing on, I can't say words today, that we hate her no matter what the fuck she is.
Slowly. Yeah.
We all fucking hate that bitch. Like, that is just a decision we all agreed upon. We were just like, nope. She's a bitch. She's a couple other words we won't say.
If you had to invite one person to watch your cats, you wouldn't invite Lily.
We don't like that one, regardless.
You invite Moscow over that one.
Yeah, for real. That's why when you were like, oh, you probably hate him. I'm like, no. She doesn't hate too many people. She doesn't have to like everybody she meets in character.
Hate her.
Character, you know, like, oh, you know, that person bothers me because of this or blah, blah, blah. Just like in real life, you don't have to like everybody. But for Amber and for Vera, hate's a strong word, but she fucking hates Lily. Like, no.
Yeah. But, oh man, I just had a great idea.
Thanks.
Oh, I can't lose this. Hold on.
No.
I gotta write something down.
Make somebody else cry.
Oh, I just thought of a thing. When you are DMing and you have a campaign ongoing, don't plan 6 months in advance. Essentially what you want to do is you want to write some big bullet points of like big things that are going to happen way in the future. Like I have ideas for each character and what something may occur months ahead in game. However, if you come up with a great idea or any type of idea, write it down. Don't let it, you know, flitter off into the ether. Just write it down.
Yeah, I told Mike that though. I was just like, why is it always me? Why do you always have to go after Vera? I don't need to have all the feelings all the time. I like that look in his face. This is what I gotta deal with 24/7. And normally when that face comes out, I'm like, one of us is gonna be in this shit. So,
Okay.
or all of us.
I had to write that down.
Depends.
I'm really sorry. Something came to mind and I was like, yeah.
No. Show Temple your shirt. So she could see.
That ball.
Re-show off the shirts.
Hold on. I gotta. How do you do? Like doing this is
There,
really
there
weird.
you go.
Look at that. Oh my god.
I want to make her into a pin, so if somebody knows a pin maker, DM us on any of the social medias.
Yeah.
I like how your two messages. I'm sorry, I really don't like that. I like it. The shift.
Man, it's fine now. I had fillings done today.
Mike, let me put some disclaimers. Mike has never had a filling.
Nope.
He doesn't know what that feels like.
Nope.
Doesn't know the process.
I'm 30 years old and I got away with it.
He's had his wisdom teeth taken out,
Yep.
and that was a couple years back, but he's never had teeth taken out or like beyond that or anything else done
I've
in
never
there.
had any need for some major teeth work. I've always had perfect teeth.
And yeah, lucky bastard over here. But I was just like, oh, I should probably tell him. And then I was like, FYI, they're gonna, do like the swab to numb you, and then they're gonna do the Novocaine. And he was like, what do you mean needle? And I was like, yeah, it's like a needle. They're gonna probably, depending on what side it is, like they're gonna numb it right there. So you're probably gonna feel a little funny, afterward, like your face is gonna feel a little funny, but it'll go away. And so when he came back and he was like telling me, because we spent the day separately from each other, but I came back and I was like, you were like a little baby alien telling me how this process
Oh yeah, I was recounting everything.
and I was like, and then what happened? I'm like over there trying not to laugh. He was like, and then?
Because I got there and you already warned me that you're like, by the way.
I was like, I should have not said anything and just seen like the look of shock in your face.
This is a great thing. This is a great question. Can we burn the mansion down?
No, I just got done telling you this.
As a DM, I can tell you, you can do whatever you want. You guys are currently walking away from the mansion. You've successfully snuck out, and you currently are headed back to town. You guys can totally stop, do a 180, and turn back and do it if you want to.
I told Mike, I said, Vera in that moment when she discovered what they were doing, like she was with Rolly on the idea of burning it. But then, like, she doesn't know what that means for the rest of the city or the circus or, like, what that would do to them once we leave. So that's why I'm not for burning this. I don't want to make life worse for people, like, that don't even deserve it. It sucks.
You can do whatever you want, guys.
Why don't you be devil's advocate?
And by the way, no, as a DM, I could tell people whatever they want. You can do whatever you want. And that's a great motto to have as a DM. Is that they can do whatever they want, but could they do it successfully?
No, Steve.
Who knows? I want to charm the dragon to not kill me.
Good luck.
Roll a d20. All right, you rolled a natural 20. What's the actual score? Oh, 22? Yeah, that's not going to charm a dragon.
I could tell by the change in your voice. That wasn't nope.
Yeah. I run a game, the way I run the game is that if you hit a natural 20 on an attack, it will hit. It will hit. If you roll a natural 1, regardless of any modifiers that you have, it will miss. But when it comes to saves, when it comes to checks, regardless if you have a natural 1 or natural 20, it's the outcome.
Steve, put it this way. The last thing that you were like, let's go kill it, and didn't have any hesitation, we ended up with baby griffins. I'm not going to end up with Moscow and the merry band of misfits. And whatever else is along for the ride.
Well, regardless, I think tomorrow's going to be really fun. I honestly cannot wait.
I rehearsed my speech multiple fucking times, and the first time was great, and I don't remember it, so this is going to be added tomorrow.
Yes. Wait, that sounds awesome.
No.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe you burn the thing. The circus folk are cast out.
I'm gonna be real curious on how Rolly burns this, because I'm not giving him any arcane magic to do it.
Hey, don't worry. Moscow's a living flame. He can do burning hands.
I'm gonna go no.
He has the ability.
I'm gonna be like, he did it. I don't need any more marks on my fucking head. I'm good.
He hasn't used it because there's been no need of it. There isn't. There's been no need. On stone? That's right.
Again, on stone.
It was a stone wall with a stone building, but wooden floors. You can burn the floors.
Again, he did it because he's not the bright one.
Now I'm trying to rethink of what I was going to say. No, you can burn the mansion, come back. The circus is kicked out, and now you may have, depending on how you run it, a hill giant as a friend. Mirror wants to protect. Why do you have oil?
I think it's in the Explorer's pack or whatever. Maybe not.
Oh,
I don't really look what's in there. I just know there's a tinder box, so like in case you need to light some shit and there's some torches, like you have it technically, as long as you don't use it all.
I think the biggest goal or the biggest joy that anyone can have as a DM is, yes, having your players go through, milestones, completing missions is fun. I think my biggest joy when it comes to DMing is creating some sort of reaction, regardless of what that is. Whether it's Rolly having fun because he's partying with a bunch of tieflings at a bachelorette party drunk.
That was funny.
And he's having fun. That's a great reaction. Whether it's Vera excuse me, getting
Fucking bawling eyes out on camera.
where there's Vera getting fucking shaking pissed at another woman who is not telling her the information she needs, or it's Savannah who is basically in awestruck of the depths that comes with her guild. Like, there's how much in here?
Yeah,
Like, there's what's going on?
Excuse me, what?
Yeah. Eliciting some sort of reaction is the biggest joy I get as DM. And if you haven't DM'd before and this is something you're like, why should I do it? It feels great. Because then you go, well, I'm going to try to make a character that really...
This is shit.
It makes the characters really think. And then you get everyone together and then they... Like, Moscow's a good example. Everyone's like, is he bad? Is he good? Is he an asshole? He's kind of an asshole, but he's got some good, he's got some bad. I don't know what to think. When I made him, I was like, I want to make him so divisive that I want my players to be like, I want to punch him, but I don't want to kill him. And
That could be debatable for Rolly, I think.
I don't know. Does Rolly want to kill?
I don't think so, but I
Moscow?
think he probably wants to knock him the fuck out.
Yeah, you want to punch him, but do you want to kill him?
All I'm gonna say is that I've told Mike that was growth. Vera's had some growth, but it still bothers her. Like
Edward was a likable asshole.
yeah, he was a likable asshole.
He was the first time I ever created a character. I was like, I'm gonna make someone who's a piece of shit, but is not looking for he's looking for the group's, well-being. He's like, get your ass in my tower. Be safe and have fun, and don't fucking spit on the floor or I'm kicking you out. And he was that type of person. He's like, I'm giving you a nice warm bed.
I think he was just curt and to the point. And
But
that's
man,
why
I'm
he
so
came
rough
off-
around the edges.
He came off like an asshole, but like really had good intentions.
Mess with another player's mind. Yeah.
I still need an adult. Not for Edward though, for Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
There's like two versions of Moscow though, because
There is.
There's Moscow in our campaign, and then there's Moscow that Mike played a character.
Barely.
Two different guys.
I barely played.
Two different fucking guys. Like I would have been happy to know the other one versus this one,
The
but
first iteration of Moscow, which people can find on Game Crate's YouTube channel, under the Orphans, is what Nick called his game.
I think he was a lot more humble.
He was definitely more humble. He was a lot more supportive, and he was more of a noble, because he had a noble background. He's more noble than what this Moscow is. I wanted to make someone who was a performer, a party animal, someone who's had some smarts behind all that, but chose to have fun. And probably someone, when you put all that together, probably someone who doesn't like responsibility.
So you made a fraternity brother.
Yep. I made a bra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You may not hate him. Depends. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I didn't.
If I compare him to Lily, yeah, he's not horrible, but he's definitely not like Vera's best fucking friend.
I didn't want to make. It's funny. I didn't go out to say I'm gonna make a fuckboy, but
You made a fuckboy.
But he turned out to be a fuckboy, and I was like, well, might as well play into that. Sometimes, and that's another tip as a DM. If you make a mistake, like I didn't want to make him a fuckboy. I just wanted to make. I just wanted him to be very fun and
The sentence. I didn't mean to make him a fuckboy.
It just happened, and I guess I put a little more emphasis on that. So I was like, fuck it, lean into it. It's fun.
Sorry, Moscow.
Now
you're a fuckboy.
He's not only he wants to swoon the ladies, but he will do the men too.
Nope. Mind Vera not to share any cups.
Shit.
I don't know what you got.
You've been drinking from his mixer this entire time.
I thought he gave us glasses.
Yeah.
Ah, goddamn.
But those have been reused.
I'll be washed them.
Yes, when it comes to D&D, there is no COVID. Who knows?
That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about STDs.
Oh, okay. It's subjective. Probably why I sympathize for him. It is. And it's one of the few reasons where you guys were kind of like...
That's why I said, well, character-wise, it doesn't make sense. It really does not make sense for Vera to sympathize for him, sympathize with him. And for Rolly, it doesn't make sense either, just because for our background's sake, it's like, nah. Like, I made her in a sense where she's... And I know Mike wants this to happen, but I made Vera in the sense where she's going to have to forcibly grow into the thing I want her to be. So she's understanding to a point, but like that's a nerve you don't touch. It's just like
family.
Yeah, it's like him or my family. Like that's a nerve you don't touch. So it's like I will have sympathy for a lot of things, but not that thing.
And I think the last thing I'll cover before we end today's stream is the concept of ripples.
Oh yeah.
I love it because
You done fucked up.
think of it this way. I started off, and Moscow's a great example. It started off with Mary going to you and going, and you and Rolly and saying, hey, I think I know a person who can help. Now you made a ripple. And you go, okay, well, who? He's an old colleague. Probably someone she's not fully...
She doesn't want to disclose all that info.
She was like, it's almost like saying, I don't want to lay out my dirty laundry. I just know someone from my past, and it's a little iffy. And then you go seek out this person, find out who he is, and then you realize what type of person he is. Now it creates more ripples, because now you're going to go, I'm going to go back to Mary and be like, what the fuck? And you told me that already. You're like, I think you may have said it on camera too. You're like, I'm going to send Mary a message and be like, you and this guy? So it's a ripple. Now I'm going to have to go back to Mary and be like, she's going to have to say something.
Well, I think Amber, and probably Vera too, but Amber's more curious, like, I'm more curious about how she knows about the medical stuff. Because, yeah, they had their one, had night of whatever, but, like, he was a performer, but at some point he did the medical stuff. Obviously, he's not doing it right now, so I'm just like, at what point did that's like he stopped doing that?
You got to talk to characters.
No, I know.
You can talk to Moscow.
Yeah, I already got enough news to tell that man. Pre-prepared for tears, I will try not to cry.
I encourage all of my players, talk to someone. Feel free to talk to a player or character. But I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. If you're still lurking with us, please don't forget to check us out tomorrow at 2 p.m. Savannah has questions now. Write them down, and you can ask them tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be streaming live again at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Are we
for
session 16?
15.
You sure?
15.
We'll see.
We are on session 15 because we haven't hit the 5 yet. So, see you guys then. Thanks for hanging out. Actually, before we jump out of here, let me check something out here. Nope, I think we're good. So we'll check you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
It is. Oh, get the Gina Lee shirt.